I think a lot of people have a very distorted look at what financial success is. I think people have been, maybe brainwashed is too strong of a term, but they've been convinced or influenced to think that financial success looks a certain way, and it doesn't. Social media and TV and the news and all of the various pieces of information at our disposal typically make us feel that if you're successful, you will fly around on a private jet. You're going to wear a fancy suit. You're going to drink very expensive champagne, drive Ferraris. Basically, that you're just going to live a life of hedonic consumption. You're just going to consume things constantly. But what I've found is that's really the exception rather than the rule. And the people that do that typically aren't succeeding anymore. They just succeeded a while ago and they're just sort of burning through all of that success. Most of the financially successful people that I personally know nowadays are super boring. They just do and have been doing the exact same thing over and over and over again for a long period of time. Basically, they find those levers, the ones that involve them putting themselves in front of people and making money with it, and then they just pull them really fast for years. As you can imagine, it is not sexy. It probably looks the exact same as what you are doing right now, just hunched over a computer, or maybe looking at a monitor, or maybe listening to me over like a podcast or something. The only difference is the actions that they're doing. Just pick the right things to do every day. And they tend to be very consistent about them. And the things that they do tend to be revenue generating, tend to make them money. If they just do the things that they've picked for a long enough period of time, they know they're going to be successful. So they don't really fuck with the formula too much. They don't really try and make things very different. Of course, they'll experiment and they'll try and grow, but they're not really going to worry too much about that. Last month, I personally made over $100,000 with 93% margins. So I made just about $100,000 US in profit. I did the math, and that's the equivalent of about 15 US families that work full time. Now, when I did it all from working at this table. And, if I could move the camera over and I could do it in a non-inconvenient way, I would. But I just took a photo just a few minutes ago to show you guys sort of what I'm working with here. I'm not saying you have to be as disorganized as me for sure. But what I'm trying to say is, if somebody sent you that picture without context, how much would you think that the person sitting at this desk makes, right? You probably wouldn't think that they make as much as 15 US families that work full time. You probably think they make less money than that. So the point that I'm making is the perception of what it takes to make a ton of money is typically quite different from like the reality of what it takes to make a ton of money. Your desk doesn't matter, how fancy your monitors are don't matter. I literally just like hunch over and make a ton of money in that 14 or 15 inch screen. So you don't really need to worry too much about that. What you need to realize is that capitalism is just a game. It's literally just a game that you and I have been signed up to. We didn't have a choice. We just came into this world, and this is just the prevailing, economic system of the time. So if you are dropped into a game that you do not understand the rules for, obviously you're going to have to muck around a little bit to figure out something that works. But when you find something that works, right? If I'm in Super Smash Bros, I don't know if you've ever played that, but I used to play a ton of Super Smash Bros growing up. A lot of the time, the solution to winning this game was really cheat. Was basically like cheating. It was a really hacky approach. You just press the same button over and over and over again, a little bit faster than the other guy. And then if you did so, you just keep kicking him in the face, and then eventually his health bar would go down and he'd die. The solutions to this game of capitalism, a lot of the time, are pretty similar, right? You just find the button and you just click the button really fast. You find the lever, you pull it super fast. It doesn't have to be super complicated, and it certainly doesn't have to look glamorous or cool or sexy, right? It does not have to involve suits and ties and private jets. There's very few business models that require a dude to muck around on a private jet. So yeah, financial success typically looks quite different than what we've been conditioned to believe. And in my case, I basically have just done the same thing every day for a long period of time. I'm going to continue to do the same thing every day for a long period of time. And if you want to achieve similar levels of success to me, then that's what you should probably be doing as well.